I believe from what I've been through, I can put this in place where people can see, he's done it. Why can't we? So I think it should be brilliant. So I've had nystagmus since birth. Nystagmus is basically, it's called the dancing eye, so that it causes the eye to flicker. I personally started to realise about 5 or 6, bumping into things, but my parents realised since birth, and there was some talk I could be blind, but so they did a load of tests and it came back with nystagmus. My parents were quite worried about going to mainstream schools or only to go to like a special needs school. If I'd ever make it to uni, and so as a whole, basically, they were just worried about how it was going to affect me, if it was going to affect me with friends and things like that. But for myself, it didn't affect me up until my current age, when you see people driving and things like that, and you realise that you can't do it yourself.
It was one of the first things he told me, because I guess he was a bit embarrassed about it, because if you look at him, it can be quite visible. I didn't feel like anything about it. It was just something that added to his personality.
Primary school, had a laptop, things like that. There was always things in place to help me. The same with that in middle school. But as you get older, I start to realise I'm a little bit different to everyone else, in a sense that people can do things that I can't do. So people can drive now, like I said before, and I can't. Certain jobs I can't go down the route of. And as a whole, just not being able to see so much as someone else, even just in day-to-day life, seeing cars moving on the road and things like that, it's just much more difficult.
Sometimes I forget that he has the disability, and then realise that things can be a bit more difficult for him. So walking around at night, he often relies on lifts and stuff, which obviously I don't mind, because then that's part of being in a relationship. But it does get quite difficult, and sometimes he will struggle with working in jobs, so it may rely me more in getting a job than him.
So I started playing football at college, first in community college. This was just at lunchtime, messing about with a few friends, and then from there I went to some disability sports days, find out that I wasn't the only one there with disability, so it was nice and friendly, nicely welcomed, and so from these disability days I started going through some England talent pathways, and then from there I am now playing for England.
It was amazing news that he got into that, because he's worked so hard to get into it. When he was in the visually impaired league, which is a smaller league, he got into the final at St George's Park, so I went to go and watch that with all his family, and it was a really good experience. But obviously if there was an England tournament in the UK, then I would go and watch it.
Ladies and number 9, Harry Macdonald.
I played year 10, year 11, every night after school I went to play at the school field, or my local field, and this was for about 3-4 hours until it got dark. And then I would have done it more, I would have done it at the weekends and everything as well, but I'd have my own commitments. But the thing that I would have loved to do is play for the mainstream school team, and this just didn't seem to be in place at the time. Certain teachers or people in place that wouldn't like someone with a disability playing for the school team. It felt a sense of, I think there's just a lack of disability help at schools. So college was good. It was just at that age, it was, I tried playing for the college team, it was too difficult. Couldn't see it so they trained at certain times of the day where I wouldn't be able to see the ball. It's in the dark. I much prefer playing football indoors, so the ball doesn't go in the air too much. Playing outdoors, I lose sight of the ball in the air. So playing 11-a-side, it's just picking out a cross or headering it or anything. It could smack me in the nose, I wouldn't know. It could be a mile away from me, and I'd still jump for it. So I just wouldn't have a sense for it at all. So that's why I play indoor football, and the ball tends to be on the floor, so it's much easier to see.
So when we first got together, that's when he literally first started. So he had the start of his trials and everything. And then about October, he found out that he got accepted into like the development squad. So then he was having loads of camps to go to help with his training, and I supported him 100%, because to be able to get into that England squad is an amazing achievement for anyone.
I started training more. I started doing pre-abs, so strength conditioning sessions. I got nominated for a TAS scholarship, which basically puts talented athletes at schools through a program where they can help do nutrition, psychologists, strength conditioning sessions, and these certain things in place to help people that are at school or at college, as well as playing football, helping them manage both of these things and put them together. Otherwise, it's really hard for people to just time management and what you put first in certain situations. From this Disability for Sport Day, this club, I played for about 2 or 3 months. I enjoyed it. It was a pan disability club, so it weren't just vision impaired. I was playing with people with autism, Tourette's, ADHD. So playing with these other people just put me in, people that were similar to me. No one judges each other. And then I got offered one of these days, England Talent Day. So I went to this day. I thought, why not give it a go? Could potentially put me on an England pathway. So I think there was 5 people who got through that day, and I was one of them out of about 40, 50 people. And from here went to Chelmsford once a week for 6 weeks. This was an evening. It's an evening thing. So after that, 2 people got through out of the 15 from different pathways around the country. So I got through that as well. From there was a trial in Cambridge, and honestly, I thought it went horrific. It was dreadful. I couldn't have played any worse. I couldn't have done anything worse. But I spoke to one of the coaches after, and he went, "Everyone here is a different disability. Like, no one knows what you're going through. No one knows what you can see and what you can't see. We're not judging anyone." So I got some feedback 2 days later, I believe it was, and I got through. So it was amazing. And honestly, I thought this was the end of. I thought I've done well enough to get here. I spoke to my parents, and I've done well enough to get there. If you fail now, then you've done really well. But so I got through it. I was over the moon. And then from there, what happened was once every other month, there was a residential camp weekend. It's either at Hereford or Lilleshall. So this was for the England pathway, emergent talent pathway. This was pan disability as well. I was one of 2 visually impaired people, so this country lacks people going through the pathway of visually impaired, which might have helped me get through. So I went for 2 years through this, like I said, at Hereford or Lilleshall, and now in past September I got offered a place for the England team to come and train with them. So that was brilliant. I trained with them, and they asked me to come back. And then when they asked me to come back, they said, "We've got European Championships coming up in December in Georgia. We'd love you to come along and represent your country." So obviously I went for it, and so December, Georgia was my debut for England. I'd love to captain England, and that's a big goal. But I think if you don't set big goals, then you can't. If you fall short from a big goal, then fair enough. But you've got to set that goal to get there. So ideally, I'd love to captain England. Those with disabilities, there's not much in place either. Well, for anything that I went through sport-wise, there's nothing really in place. So when I was going through for disability sport, I had to go to Colchester for Disability for Sport Club, and they were the only really team in the area who could put on anything. So it would be much better if there was something closer.
But there isn't enough things for people with an impairment or a disability, which is why me and Harry want to do Anyone Can. So me and Harry have come up with Anyone Can together. He will do a lot of the activities because he's got his level 1 coaching, and because I do events management at uni, I will mainly create the events, and I'm also head of safeguarding, so we'll be in charge of that.
Anyone Can, it is to provide people with disabilities, sporting activities. So we're putting on certain days where any disability is welcome for different age ranges at certain times of the day. And we're currently booked a taster session on the 27th of May. This will be to ask the parents to see the children what they would like in place, anything more they would like, certain things that they lack in the area, and it's just really to help these individuals grow in a sporting activity they love, and just to really excel. They'll be around people where they're in a similar situation, similar condition, just like I was. So I believe from what I've been through, I can put this in place where people can see, you know, he's done it. Why can't we? So yeah, so I think it should be brilliant, and it should provide a lot of opportunities for those with disabilities.